Hey YouTube, this is Brandon coming to you tonight. I am excited about a new piece of gear that I picked up today, and it come from one of the most unlikely places that you would ever think to come up with this. Now, before I go into this, guys, I know I'm going to get 100 responses saying, "That's not something you came up with," and I know it's probably not, but I'm being 100% honest when I tell you I've never seen this until today when I was walking through Walmart. And first of all, being somebody who does bushcraft and teaches bushcraft skills, everything that I look at, I think about and analyze to the point of how many uses can I immediately think of for the item, how many things can I immediately do with the item as upon looking at it. And I was walking through Walmart tonight looking at several different things that I needed, a few things I didn't need. And I came across this on the shelf, and for the price that it was listed at, guys, I had to get one, and I'll show you why. There's so many uses that you can come up with this for this, and I wanted to share it with you guys. I was super excited to make the video, and this is what it is. Oh yeah, I remember this from when I was a kid. My grandmother, both my grandmothers, for a matter of fact, had one of these. They kept it in their kitchen next to the canisters where they kept flour and meal and beans and things of that nature. You would always see this can sitting next to it. What they always did with this can was they would take the drippings when they would cook breakfast meat. They would take the drippings from the breakfast meat and they would take the lid on the can, and there is a strainer inside of the can right here. You would pour that hot grease into the strainer, and it would drain off all the drippings in the strainer, and then the hot grease would run down in the can, and they would save that grease and use it later. Now, these are both ladies who grew up in the Great Depression. They reused and used things over and over and over as many times as they could, and saving that grease was a way that they would use it to cook and to season their food with, and they just grew up doing that, and they were used to it, so they did it. My grandmother that passed away back at the first of last month did this literally almost up until the day she died. She kept a grease can at her house. And I got to thinking about and analyzing when I was walking through Walmart tonight, looking at different things. One of the things I have on the list, we're getting ready to do a field weekend coming up at the end of this month here with the Tennessee Outdoor Forum. And one of the things I had on my list was, Brandon, you got to get a new cook kit. Your cook kit that I'm carrying right now, guys, and I'll show it to you sometime if I think about it, but the cook kit that I'm currently carrying, guys, is one that I've carried for 25 years. And literally, I've carried it since I was about 7 or 8 years old. I mean, it is a very, it's been a very good cook kit. It's held up, gone many miles, but it is beat all to crap. It's dented. The pan is supposed to be Teflon coated, but it's shiny silver just like this pot. I mean, there's no Teflon coating to it. So I decided we need to do something about my cook kit. And one of the things I got to looking at was the utility of this pot. Now, first of all, the one thing I did check, and I want to make sure I'll let you know up front, this pot is made out of aluminum. It is an aluminum pot. Long-term cooking every single day, would I encourage you to use aluminum to do it with? No, probably not. While I'm camping or in a bug-out situation or something like that, would it be okay to cook through a 72-hour event, through a camping trip, through a hike, something like that with an aluminum pot? Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. Matter of fact, you know, aluminum supposedly causes certain health issues when you cook in it, when you use it to eat out of. But, you know, all in all, guys, the side effects that you get from it are not enough that they're going to hurt you unless you're scraping chunks out of the side of the pot and eating them, which you shouldn't be doing anyway. That's kind of weird. They have a disease. I think it's called pica. You might want to get checked out for that. But I wanted to show you this, and I've added some kit to it, and this is going to be pretty close to the configuration that I carried in when I add it in to my permanent hike camp bug out bag that I have. This is going to be pretty close to the configuration I have. There's a couple of things I want to add. As soon as I get one that's decent that I want to add, I'm going to put a Frenzo lens in here. And I also am going to get another ferrocerium rod to go in here. And We're gonna have a ferro rod in here. We're gonna have another Frenzo lens in here, and I have right now. Let's go into the kit. Let me show you what I've got. First of all, this strainer just removes like that, and I have this little bag down in here first. Now, all this bag is, guys, this is just real simple. I have a pair of Oakley sunglasses, and this bag is what my Oakleys came in. I have a mini Bic, and I don't have, one thing I probably will put in here is a tin to make char cloth. I don't have that, but I do have some cotton material to make char cloth with. That's 100% cotton. And I have a piece of the fire bark, and I've showed this in other videos. And the rest of this pack here is packed up with cotton balls. So tinder materials, a combustion device, and this is my explanation for how I came up with what to put in this and what to carry in the cook kit, guys. And this is a good rule of thumb for just about anything you do, and I want to pass this on. And people say you can't teach common sense. Well, you can exactly, but you can guide people to learn to make educated inferences, and that's kind of what we're doing here in going over the methodology and the thought process and what to put into this kit, is teaching people how to make good inferences and what they're going to do. What I centered around is, first of all, what is the primary use of the primary piece of gear? Well, the primary piece of gear in this situation is going to be your grease pot. The primary use of that particular grease pot is going to be, at its simplest form, to boil water, at its most complex, to cook a meal. So, I mean, even at its simplest form, and that's boiling water, what are the steps that I would have to go through to boil water in this pot? Well, obviously, the first step that you would have to go through is you're going to have to build a fire. You're going to have to go out, you're going to have to collect the wood, you're going to have to process the wood, chop it, which you're going to hopefully use your knife or your saw or your axe or whatever you have that you're carrying with you to do that and complete that process. Once that is done, you've got to have, to complete the fire triangle, if you've got fuel and you've got oxygen, which are two sides of your fire triangle, you're going to have combustion. So we added the lighter. We're also going to add the ferro rod and the Frenzo lens. And that will be 3 ways to make fire in this kit, which adds another good redundancy to your bug out bag that can be used for this specific purpose. Redundancies are good in situations like that, and you want to have redundancies throughout your kit for that purpose. Now, the other thing that I thought of at my most complex form in this, what am I going to be doing with this? And that's probably cooking a meal, eating a meal from this pot. So I thought, what other gear would be good to add to this that would give me an all-purpose functionality for accomplishing that task. I have another piece of gear, guys. Now, this is one of those kind of gadgety type items, guys, but you know what? I've used this thing, and I love it. I'm going to show it to you. It is a CRKT Eaton tool. On this tool, you have a 10, a 6, and a 4mm wrench, 6-side wrench. You have a flathead screwdriver. You have a bottle opener. You have another flat end down here that could be used to pry with. That could be used as a screwdriver for a wider screw. You could put that in there and do it. On the tips, you have a fork and a spoon together. I think the proper term for that is a spork on that. And guys, this tool works exceptionally well for what it is and the price. You can get these for about $4.99, I think is what they run. I think I got mine at a gun show for $3 off of a table. You can get them pretty much anywhere. I know I'll plug a website. I'll plug some guys who have helped me out here in the last little bit. SmokyMountainKnifeWorks.com, smkw.com. Go on there. I want to say that they sell them for $4.99, and they have several different colors if that interests you and having a different color. I think they have black and pink and green and tan. You can go on there and look. They also make a new version of this that comes with a long handle. That's about 6-inch long handle that comes on it, which is pretty cool. I'm probably going to end up picking up one of those too, just because this has been such a good tool. Also, in a pinch, guys, I could take this tool, I could dig with it. In a have-to situation, guys, I could use this to flesh out a hide. If I had to use it to pull flesh off of a hide as a scraper, I definitely would have something here that I could use to accomplish that. So that's another piece of kit that we've added to it. Comes with a little clip on it, a little carabiner type clip that's on there. So that's the kit we've added to it. Now this is the kit that it comes with, and I want to throw some ideas to y'all out there. Obviously, you know you have a pot. You can make stews, you can make soups, you can make pretty much anything that you can think of that you would normally make in a pot, you can make it in this. You can also boil water. Another thing we are using this for is as a container for storage, because we're taking our items and putting them down in it when we store it. That way these are out of sight, out of mind, and they're with the kit at all times. The other thing that you could have, guys, you make your coffee while you're out in the field. You got a big coffee cup. You can drink your coffee out of it. The handle on it gives it that added functionality that you're able to use it as a cup if needs be, where you can drink directly from this pot. If you boil water, you let that water cool, you can drink the water straight from the pot. Once again, you have that handle. The fact that the pot is made out of aluminum is going to allow it to cool quicker once it's been heated, which means that you'll quicker be able to pick it up by the handle with your hand without burning yourself. And that's all the more a plus, guys. Another thing that I really like about this, and what I think could be done with a lot of ease, all has to do with this, the strainer. Two things automatically came to mind. When you put this down in here, I'm of the theory that in small amounts, you could take bags of Mountain House or whatever you would have. Let's say, you, for instance, you had some Mountain House blueberries. Throw them in the top, water in the bottom, put it on the fire. Take the lid, cover it. Let it set, let it steep in there to the point that those blueberries in that Mountain House reactivated, that they rehydrated. What you're going to do in that process is you're going to reactivate those berries, and you're not boiling them, you're reactivating them with steam. Because you're doing that, you're not boiling the sugars and the sweetness that is trapped in those out in the process of doing that. That means when you go to eat these, they're going to be much sweeter, they're going to be much better tasting, and you can pull them out and you can eat them, and they'll rehydrate well in that nature. So I think that that's one thing that you could do with this. Another thing that I can't wait to try is making tea in this, or coffee. I believe that with a lot of ease, you could take your coffee, put your coffee in the top part, your water in the bottom, let the water boil, let it steep your coffee, and then when you go to pour this, you could literally just strain the coffee through in here, and you would get coffee out the other side. Even if you wanted to, you know, when you went to pour it, if you wanted to filter it as you poured it out, you could do that too, guys. I've done it lots of times. Coffee is, you know, that's an exceptional, something that this bag right here could be used for. You pour the coffee through the bag filters the coffee, lets the liquid go through, and keeps the grounds inside. You got to think about stuff like this. But I think all in all, guys, this is going to be a great piece of gear. The other thing too, you have this lid. You could use this lid as a little plate, a makeshift plate to eat off of. The lid also gives a place to be able to seal everything up within the kit, keep everything in the kit, and keep it confined to the location of the kit. Guys, this video has gone a little bit longer than I normally like to make them. I do want to thank you all for tuning in. All my new subscribers, I appreciate all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Jayhawk. Thank you, Ruger Dude 3. Thank you, Gun Crazy 81. You guys have been my biggest supporters, and there are